Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to a place where I'm going to start with a preface. I'm going to start with a preface that I don't cut and shut. Okay? I have. In times long gone by, I have. And we have tested cut and shut here before. We're going to test another one today. Only this one is done in a way that I kind of approve of more. Why do I not cut and shut? Why do I not get on that bandwagon? Because I'm not 100% it's necessary. We are now, we're alive at a time where our options for tires are manifold. We have so many options. Most of them are not great, but a lot of them truly are. And when I see a rock bumps being cut down to be narrower, I genuinely don't get it. I mean, if there's an application in your neck of the woods where that tire might be letter specific to something that you do, great, fine. I'm not telling anybody not to cut and shut tires. I'm saying that it's not a pursuit that I have, because a la carte, off the rack, pret-a-porter, is there, right? You need tall and skinny? It exists. You need short and fat? It exists. You need scale of any imaginable size and number, but it seems like any time a new tire is released, somebody's cutting it, and they're either making a 525 out of a full 575, or they're doing something. And grandly, you know, holistically, I genuinely don't get it. It's not something I want to devote my time to. But I am thankful that other people do, because winging its way over, it might have traveled ground, trucking its way over from the somewhat faraway land of Ohio, is a set of J-Concepts Ruptures that, when I saw them, I said, oh yes, I would like to try that, because it is a cut and shut, but it's a cut and shut not done in the way that one would expect, because this was born as a full-blown 575 Rupture, 2.2 575. He told me to obscure the glue line because he said it's hideous. We're not here to win beauty trophies. This began as a 575 Rupture, and then he left the width and just cut it down real short. I'm okay with this. Why am I okay with this? Because I had a vehicle that as soon as I saw those, I was like, oh, this isn't just a little bit of a hashtag from the comments. This isn't just a little bit of a test, a reader's thing. This is an absolute 100. Let me pull a tire ahead in time. We're gonna do a this or that. We're gonna do a this versus that, because I would like you to see this cut and shut, and I would like you to see this tire. It's even fatter. And if you have ever wondered, did the Rupture take any inspiration from the HPI Rover? I mean, this is a little more dingus-like. Got a little more wang-dangle action there. These are a little more like some kind of a weird fantasy knife that somebody would get stabbed with. And they went bigger, the bigger little sploots next to the danguses, but obviously it's there now. This brings forth for us the question: is it worth it? Is it worth it? These are both on foams. These are both on 2.2 wheels. These with basically the same offset. These have to be tested on misdirection. I cannot test these on any other caged platform I have here, because every one of those caged vehicles, that is Wolverine, that is Yukio, that is the Ghoulie Moo, all of them run 5mm stub axles, which these plastic adapters will not fit. And also, you cannot fit any 8mm wrench into the hole in these plastic things. They predate that as a thing. But I'm a wider is better guy. I cannot grasp, like, skinnier. And here's what I've learned about tires that are skinnier. PSI because, and not PSY, not the guy from Korea. PSI, pounds per square inch, ground pressure. The narrower that tire gets, the more critical the amount of PSI that's being applied to it becomes. You can have a tire that does reasonably well on one vehicle. You can take that tire and put it on another vehicle that just applies its weight differently, has greater overall weight, sprung and unsprung, lower, what have you, different distribution of weight. And that tire, the odds are it's not going to just move laterally. You're not going to go tire here, tire here. It's going to get better or it's going to get worse, right? Because that's how it works. Which tires are the most forgiving? Well, the tires that look like this, the old-time hieroglyphic tires, the Panther Cougars, the Hammers, the Chisels, the Sedonas, even now, big 525 megalithics, 525 and 575 Ruptures, you put them on something, and based on what they look like and how they're built, they are indifferent. You can put it on a vehicle that weighs 5.5 pounds, does pretty good. You can put it on a vehicle that weighs 7.5 pounds, does pretty good. There's obviously, it's a bell curve. There's points of diminishing returns going too light and too heavy. But tires like this tend to be incredibly forgiving. The only thing they're not forgiving of is fitment. This is a Hot Bodies HPI Rover EX in the pink compound. It is 135, which is dead 5 1/4 by 63 millimeters wide, which is one of, if not the widest, oh no, Sedonas. Yes. the Hot Body Sedona would be the widest tire in service here. But will be the widest tire tested here. These are 128. So when the man said that he cut a Rupture down to 5 inches tall, what he meant was 5 inches tall. And while it is 5 inches tall, it is a full 74 millimeters wide. So yes, 2 13/16. I mean, that's a wide boy. So it's shorter and wider than an HPI HB Rover, which I call beach balls, because 63 millimeters wide at 5 1/4 inches tall. What does a typical 525 look like? What is a 525 Tusk? It's a little bit wider, and I appreciate this. I appreciate that they haven't abandoned this, because all we're seeing is narrower, 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 narrower. And a part of me, the particularly skeptical part of me, says, well, they're going to save money. I wear a size 14 shoe, and my wife wears a women's 8. A woman's 8. A woman's 8 is probably around here. And then a man's 14 is probably around here. And the thing is, we pay like the same amount of money for shoes. So I feel like I'm getting a deal. They had to put a lot more material into my shoe than they put into hers. And then in this pursuit, in this world, all of these tires will cost around the same. They'll be about the same. Obviously, there's a little bit more stuff in this one than this one. So would not the motivation of the manufacturer and the distributor and the final, wouldn't it? And also you can fit more in a box. You see what I'm saying? They're shrinkflating us slowly. And I think that a bug is rapidly being remarketed as a feature, which is, oh yeah, it's smaller and it's skinnier, because you might not have known it, but what you wanted was smaller and skinnier. And I would rather run a narrower axle with a wider tire, because what is the singular part of the vehicle that is in contact with the surface that the vehicle is being driven on? It's these. So While I'm a non-cut and shut guy, I absolutely encourage other people to do it because then that means I don't have to. And then I can see if the fruits of their labors are worthwhile. I tested a canyon trail that a man had narrowed and he had cut the center rib out. And the long and the short and the bare honest truth of it was that it was that. Like, it didn't get worse. I don't think it appreciably got better. I think on some fitments, and maybe you need a little bit narrower, it'd be great. I know that some people don't appreciate a canyon trail because, like, the canyon trail is fat. And a lot of people are now getting into the mindset that they want a tire that looks like this. You know? I get it. I get it. Sometimes the appearance and the fitment are paramount. They are the absolute thing. Traxxas makes a fat tire. HPI Hot Bodies makes a fat tire. So is this not perfect? Have we not arrived at a perfect place where we have a cut and shut Rupture, but they didn't do it the way that you usually see, which is where they cut a big band out of the middle of it and make it skinny. It's full fat. Full fat and short. And I think a perfect this or that side by each, because you can just buy these. Don't buy the pink ones. Buy the white ones. We learned over time that the Rover, the white dot Rover, is the superior one. These are a little more temperature sensitive. They're a little bit very soft, and they cost $10 more per pair. But pretend that that dot on the other side is white and not pink, and they're $25 a pair. So you're not getting shrink fitted. They're giving you a lot of rubber for your $25. This is basically an approximation of that, only it's even a little bit wider. We couldn't compare this to something like a Cougar or a Sedona because those tires are much, much bigger. Or even a 575 Rupture, which is what this began as, because that's so much bigger. But I think that these are absolutely comparable. I mean, in terms of the lug, in terms of the sizing, in terms of the everything. What do we gain from the... What do we gain? This is HPI HP Pink. This is J Concepts Green. Starting with J Concepts Green, you're already heading in the right direction. So what we'll do is we'll hit a couple spots with misdirection. The only vehicle I have that can mount these tires, and it was fortunate because this is the vehicle that I would choose to mount these tires, as she already basically runs these tires. And we're going to see how much more are we going to get out of this than we get out of these. Like, when we do, look how ridiculous those look already. That's why I call them beach balls. When we get out there onto the course, we're going to see, like, is this something that time should be spent on? I'm still not going to do it. Like, it would have to be a level of performance, an increase in capability so extreme that it would basically relegate these to the rack, waiting for some other future fitment. And to be completely honest, I don't anticipate that happening. I think our move is going to be relatively lateral. I think we're going to get to see what kind of performance differences we see in those few millimeters, that 7-ish millimeters of height, aka about 3.5 millimeters change of ground clearance. And then we're going to see what happens with the additional width, because with the width that these are, we're rubbing cage already. These are going to get involved. So, of course, our trusty companion, the Cobalt bag. Our trusty companions, the 4 chopped down, stumpy 575 Ruptures, which are now 5-inch Ruptures. We got two lights. That's plenty. The device. And onto the course. This or that. The gentleman has made himself an even fatter Rover, but it's green. I think they're going to show differences, but even I couldn't tell you where. The rocks can. So let's head out there and let them do just that. Out on the course at about 65, 18, 75, and it really does lead to those my internal questions of like, today's high is supposed to be 76 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 65 at like 8 o'clock in the morning. So we'll see how that goes. We're doing a 2-camera setup, a little non-traditional, because what I'm going to try to do is not get up and move. I gotta get the mindset first. Give me a moment here. There's a thing that the Rover can do, which is you get that side bite, that shoulder bite on the Rover is so sharp. What happens, because of the spacing of those bars, you can't just point yourself at the obstacle and just steady state it. You got to maneuver it a little. Now, what they can do is very low throttle input ascending. Very low. Getting a little lift. The gnats have found me already. They've found me. She's not much of a self-rider, but she can do it. It's a risk this early on. And think back not too long ago, I said I would rather take the narrow axle and the wider tire. It's exactly what I did. I like the Capra cage in a variety of different flavors, and one of them is not the OE Capra, much less the axial offered 4-wheel steer one. It's equal length links, which means it doesn't do stuff good. This is a shorter wheelbase, tuck both axles in, but it's Element straight axles, so the axles are narrower. Moves that CG down. Stealth X in the middle, so we have a proper amount of gear reduction. It's basically an Element Capra. I get right here, we kind of over push right there. Kind of over push. She's predictable. Thing is, she acts super light, like a flyweight, and she really isn't. Probably right around 6 pounds. Here's the experimental part, because I can't see great. And I thought to myself, yeah, we can do it. Little bit of lug noise, but there's a constant level of drive. The Rover is one of those hieroglyphic tires that, like, we get in between the wheelbase right here, and then we can. It never feels like there's a point where all of a sudden we've run out of traction, right? That's a thing a thing to love about the hieroglyphics and tires that are big and wide. She's a great descender because her center of gravity is lower. She's maneuverable because she's got more gear reduction than a Capra, so we can get in nice and slow. I gotta find the spot. Right there. Cut it back, don't cut it back too much. All right, we can try a left-hander. That's all I can really see. Yeah. Yes! I don't know, I can't see this at all. Whatever that is. Whoo! Something in the eye that was large. Completely blind, and I can't see her at all. So let me go for the blindest ascent I've ever done on this. Blind side full blind. I can see a little bit of her roof from where I'm seated. I've lost her altogether now. I'm going kind of by sound. Okay, I can see her nose. I should have moved. What I should have done is I should have moved. Yeah. So, I feel, at least, I know what I'm looking for. I will be able to discern differences. This is my mind refresher. A little wide there. I think she's on an 1700 kV. My God, the gnats are incredible. It's right through there. Really gets right in between the wheelbase. I need to get... I don't like that wraparound shot. It works, but I want to push it up that notch is where I want to push it. There are things rigs will do, and then there's the things I want the rigs to do. And the geometry and the layout of this have always kind of bent me to their will a little bit. I want to get right there. That little nose push. That little nose push. It's something that we've tried to train out. But what we did, baked it in a little bit. Doesn't have real intense bad behaviors, but there are limits. I call it putting yourself in a cage. Once you put yourself in a cage, you've limited yourself on link mounting positions. Axle positions are going to be limited by like what bangs into the cage and what doesn't. So these are self-selected limitations, and right, like the capability is there, and the Rovers are certainly a part of that. But I never feel like we're deep into Crawler's Paradox stuff. Like, it's not getting to the point where she's so capable that we're just point and shoot, right? And based on, and this is another in-house philosophy, which is if you have a rig that isn't that line killer, bro, if it's not the absolute most capable thing, then throw a crazy tire on it. Because then grip won't necessarily be a problem. It's going to be getting your clearances and picking your line correctly. Taking the thing that you own that is the most capable and then putting the grippiest tire on it is just a recipe for inevitable eventual disaster, because then you've raised your expectations, and then your expectations of everything in the future are like, why is this thing not just driving up this wall? Well, because everything is a compromise. And this is no exception. These are, look at that. I thought she looked lunar lander before, but that is a deliciously wide tire. Oh, it's so wide. Well, there is definitely a stability. Is there more stability when you go up? Was it 13 millimeters in width per tire? So we have over an inch of additional contact patch side to side. Push out, comes back. I'm noticing the height difference when going vertically. That 3.5 millimeters of ground clearance. I noticed that. They are not as imprecise as one might imagine. They're conforming, I might argue, a little bit better than the Rovers. That foam in there is doing a better job, I think. Give me that one straight up the middle again. They are so very wide. Also, of instances in the past where we've had a chance of a wheel falling off, never higher than now. Those plastic adapters for those wheels, there's like 2.5 threads engaged on the fronts. Like this hex and stub arrangement is not conducive to this tire and hub arrangement. That's not going to stop us. We have a wrench. If it falls off, we put it back on. Do I believe that there is a point of diminishing returns when it comes to width? Well, sure. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, right? We could go full over square. Imagine if she had Capra axles on her. So we're now a full inch wider than we are now. Probably still fine. Until you try to pass through a gate. Yeah, that vertical height. We just have to drive to it. Remember we rolled and then we bit wider. And can I get a show of hands of anyone who is surprised? Like there's more contact patch now. So our turning circle is going to get wider. Our stability is going to get higher. We're lower, so we descend even better. There is, though, I mean, this is, if we were penning an imaginary pros cons list, I thought she had it. If we were penning that imaginary pros cons list, it's a virtual tie, right? For each thing we give going one way, we get going the other. And what I mean is, these induce stability, but not excessively. Tire-induced stability is never going to get to a point where you go, oh, it's too much. I'm too stable now. You can be, through geometry, overly stable to where it sacrifices the rig's ability to maneuver, right? Positionability and stability are often at direct odds with one another. So the Rover, we don't hang pumpkin because we've got that just a little bit more ground clearance. And we're more, the royal we, are more comfortable, more used to driving with that little bit of extra ground clearance. HPI HB pink is excellent. I think the white is more versatile. See, look at the swing around. We go all the way around. Buffalo Gals, we go around the outside. But I think J Concepts green is ultimately better, at the very least in terms of versatility. I think a huge point of advantage, and this cannot be overstated, to the Rover is that you go on the internet and you buy them. You just buy them. You don't have, like, there's no, I'm a huge proponent of the lug cut canyon trail. See right through there? It's better right there. But I am also ready and willing to acknowledge that the Louise 6 gear is a thing that exists. And the Louise 6 gear is a thinner carcassed cut canyon trail in a slightly better compound. I'm giving the edge to Louise Supersoft over Traxxas S1. So what I'm saying is, in a grossly comparative way, a 5-inch tall, nearly 3-inch wide Rupture, is it the Canyon Trail in this situation, or is it the 6 gear? Well, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. The compound is better. I think the lug arrangement, I think the selection of the hieroglyphic is an absolute wash. I think both tires got the 3 C's correctly. They got compound, carcass, and composition. I think they both got them correct. Did one get them more correct? I contend that green is more versatile overall. I think that a tire of this width, I think you have the potential of running into PSI issues in both directions. Like, your vehicle might be right in a, what's the opposite of butter? Like in the middle, we have what would be the butter zone if it was positive? We have the negative butter zone. What's butter backwards? Butter, retub. We've got the retub zone in the middle, right? Where more PSI is better, or maybe less PSI is better, because then we're not getting that over deflection of the lug. I feel like misdirection is in the retub zone for both the Rover and the 5-inch tall 2.2 very fat Rupture. She could be a little heavier. These would be better served on, I'm going to go all the way up and say Ghoulie Moo. I think these are, because he's close to 9 pounds. I think he could use this width, and because he's portaled, he would take more advantage of the lower height, that 5-inch tall. Is the 5-inch tall tire on portals for buggies, is it the same as the 4.5-inch tall tire on portals? Or throwing a 393 on portals, is it that same thing? Instead of pairing a 575 in a portal and just taking all the ground clearance? Like where is that balance of what do we want to trade stability for maneuverability? And here's the deal. I will take the maneuverability for this, because she's already, it's mostly element geometry in there. Is that one? Is that a 1 1.25 wheel stand? There's a little bit of canyon in there, but it's mostly element and and a little bit of Capra still left, because, you know, shock mounting positions and whatnot. We haven't moved those. We do got a link riser, and the link riser is probably more beneficial with the Rover at a taller height. I think she can honestly get away maybe with like something in the 5.4 range. I don't know if the Rover is her forever tire. I don't know if these would be her forever tire. I think she's looking for something specifically unknown. Something to get out of the retub zone where the pressure is not high enough, the pressure is too high. The tire is too wide, the tire is not wide enough. It's kind of what I like, right? Because chasing that unknown and then finding that unknown just unlocks another node on the skill tree, to where then we look at it and we go, okay, we know the wheelbase, we know the overall weight, we know the pressure per tire. We're starting to know all of these things, and then we find out there's always that variable floating. What is that variable floating? Do we need a 76 millimeter wide tire for misdirection? We do not. Do we need a 63 millimeter wide tire for misdirection? Maybe not. Am I going to cut my Rover EX narrower to find out? No, I will find a tire that is a little bit narrower, but around the same height. I think she's a 525 gal, you know? I mean, the obvious answer that anyone would throw out is 525 megalithics. I don't want the megalithic. I don't want the tusk. I don't want J Concepts Green to be the answer to everything. Variety is indeed the spice of life. And we keep broadening and we keep adding rigs and we keep adding requirements almost to some degree in the hopes that one or two tires aren't the answer to every question we might ask. These are fantastic because they are certainly not an answer to every question that could be asked. They are 76 millimeters wide. I want to say wider even than Sedona's. And they are I love a thought experiment made real. This is a collision of thought experiments. The man who cut these down and made a 76 millimeter wide, 5-inch tall Rupture had a thought experiment and he made it real. And then we made it further real in which I tested it myself. Would I do it? No. Do I applaud that it is done? Yes. Absolutely. I imagine that these work fantastically because I imagine that the rig he has these fitted to on a daily basis, these are in the butter zone for that. What would his rig do on Rovers compared to these? That I can't say. I am not in Ohio. I'm not driving his rig. There's a lot of variables. We isolated as best as we could, and we looked at Rover EX versus Superphat, all one word, Superphat Ruptures. I mean, I like them. If I didn't find something that they fit, I'd build something to fit them because I love a tire like that. Like, it's hieroglyphic, it's short, it's fat, it's almost got too much grip for her platform, right? Like, her maneuverability is out the window. It's an imperfect solution to my problem. But I have to assume that it is a perfect solution to his, and I'm all for it. Could he be solved by Rovers? I don't know. Or just a 525 Rupture? Or a 525 megalithic? That's the thing. But, again, we don't want a 525 megalithic to be the answer to everything. That's the spice of that's the life spice. That's the life spice, everybody. I would like, first and foremost, to thank the man from Ohio for sending these in. I would like to thank you all so much for joining us for whatever this was. A collision of thought experiments. I would hope that you will all come back again real soon to see whatever we're goofing around with next. And of course, as always, in between now and when we meet again, please one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon, hopefully sooner than later, with some other random thought process from my mind or others, or some collision of the two.